What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Today is March 11th, so that means that we're getting close to trout season. And if you looked at the title above, you can tell that this video is all about trout fishing. If you fish around New Jersey and you're a trout fisherman, or if you're a beginner and you want to get started, this is the video for you. We're going to be talking about everything you need for trout fishing in New Jersey to get started. First thing you got to know before you get out on the water is the new regulations for this year. So let's check those out. All right, so the fishing regulations are going to be a little bit different due to COVID this year. March 15th through the 31st, the season closes due to stocking. The fishing game is going to put in a bunch of fish in all the rivers, so the rivers are all loaded up for opening day. April 1st at 8 a.m., the season opens up for catch and release. That's going to be through the 9th, so anything you catch, you got to throw back. If you want to keep fish, you're going to have to wait till April 10th at 8 a.m. The season opens up for keeping fish. If you want to keep any, you're going to be allowed 6 trout. They got to be 9 inches in size. After that, you're going to want to be sure to pick up a New Jersey freshwater fishing license. You can get that online, Dick's Sporting Goods, Walmart. That allows you to fish any New Jersey public water. So those are the regulations. There's going to be no in-season water body closures, meaning the streams will stay open. They're not going to close. I think it was one day each week the streams were closed for stocking. They're going to be open all season. So right here, I'm at one of my local streams, and if you're having trouble finding some fishable water near you, I'm going to be sure to leave that link in the description. It's going to be a list of all the spots that New Jersey stocks the trout. So you're going to be able to look down that list, find an area that's closest to you so you can get on some fish without driving super far. I'll be sure to leave everything I can in the description to all this gear, every link, so you guys can have the most possible information to get out there on your own. So we're going to start off with some standard spinning gear. This is probably going to be your go-to thing when you're packing up, hitting the stream. This is the most common setup that a trout fisherman's gonna have. This is a 1000 size reel. It's a Shimano Nexave. This is a 500 size reel, so it's one size smaller than this guy. And this is a Shimano Sienna. You could pick up both these. You could pick up, I think, this combo for under 70 bucks. And basically, you're just gonna want to look for a rod and reel with this specification: a 500 to a 1000 size reel. Be sure to spool that up with fluorocarbon line. Both rods and reels have 4-pound fluorocarbon line. That's going to allow that line to basically disappear in the water. So trout have very good eyesight, and when they're first stocked in the river, they're very finicky. So if you don't have that 4-pound line or the fluorocarbon, they're going to be easily spooked. So this is a typical ultralight combo. It's got a very fast action tip. You can throw up to a 3/16 ounce lure, and it usually takes anywhere from 2 to 6 pound lines in strength. There's also a 5'6" rod. There's another rod, it's just a little bit longer. It's a 6 foot length, 4 to 10 pound line, and these are my go-to combos. We're gonna get into lures here in a second, but I'll throw a little bit of a bigger lure on this rod, and this one is mostly for finesse, maybe some light action rooster tails, some salmon eggs. First thing you're gonna want is a little bag or something like that. I usually keep all my stuff in here. And you're gonna want maybe some little boxes here to organize your tackle. This is usually what I will carry with me when I go out trout fishing. As you can see, I got all different types of rooster tails. My favorite size rooster tails to have are between 1/8 and 1/16. I think they're the perfect size to throw in some good current. If you got to go a little bit lighter, the water's really calm, go with that 1/16 ounce. I don't find that they're too picky with the color. I usually like to stick to the basics. I got black, white, black and white with some red, gold blades. You can mix it up here. I got a size 1 Panther Martin. I usually like to carry around that size. The hook on that is a little bit messed up. And rooster tails in general are one of the best ways you can target trout. All you gotta do is take that lure, throw it upstream, let it sink for a second, and just slowly retrieve it back. That's the best way to retrieve a rooster tail. Next, on the other side here, we got some trout magnets in all different types of colors. All you really got to do with these is tie them on, cast them out, and just let it really just drift downstream. Trout magnets are really great, and fish love these. These are some mealworms right there. You can run it the same way on here and just drift those downstream. Or you could put a bobber on top and do the same thing. I like to carry a bunch of different kind of jerk baits, but as you guys know, the Rapala HJ6 is my go-to if you're on a more aggressive bite. Trout can be very aggressive, and maybe you can throw this out and they'll have just a reaction strike, and you can catch a nice one on these. The next thing you're gonna want is a good old salmon egg fishing rig here. If you haven't seen the video on fishing for stock trout with salmon eggs, definitely check that out, because it's a great way to catch some fish, and it's a super easy rig to tie. There's a size 8 octopus hooks. They're really nice, super sharp. The rig is really simple. You can just take a light split shot, just enough to get down there, tie one of these hooks on, and tip it, and just put 1 or 2 salmon eggs on the end. The next thing you're gonna want is a pair of pliers or some forceps. So because of, you know, the catch and release and everything in the beginning of the season, and if you want to release, a nice pair of pliers can really help get that hook out. You don't want to get caught off guard on the river without a measuring tape, and you don't know how big the fish is, so you got to carry one of these. Next is a good pair of polarized sunglasses, and this makes a huge difference when finding fish. When you're out here on the river and you're looking around, if you have a good pair of sunglasses, that's really going to cut through the glare. Sometimes without these, you'll be fishing the spot, and all you got to do is put these on and see if the fish are down there, because sometimes you can't tell. If you plan on keeping fish, you're going to want a stringer. This way you can keep that catch nice and fresh in the water while you're fishing, and you don't have to go back and put it in the cooler or lug a big cooler around. So if you're getting into trout fishing, you might want to consider getting a pair of waders. This is going to allow you to get sections that you couldn't normally fish from the shore, and you can really cover a lot of water with these. I'm not going to go into super detail on which ones I have. I have a pair of Sims. There's definitely some cheaper options there on the market, depending on what kind of fisherman you are, if you're going to use these things a lot, if you're going to use them a few times a year. So definitely look into getting a pair of waders. I'm in the middle of editing this video, and I forgot to say, you may also want to have a net too. That helps a lot. The next important thing, and we can get super into this, but we're going to keep it into the basics. Reading the water. This is really important. So when you show up to the spot, how are you going to know where to fish? So this can get super into detail, but I'm just going to go ahead and share the basics with you. These are some pictures I found on fix.com. It explains it really well. So over on the left of the screen there, that's the riffles. That's where, you know, some current flows between the rocks there. Trout like to hang out in that area. There's the eddy, which almost kind of creates a small whirlpool effect. It's kind of where current changes. Fish can hang out there as well. Then there's a tail out area, which is a shallow area at the end of the pool, or it could just be where some heavy current kind of just calms down a bit. That's also another great spot. Of course, there's also some runs and deeper pools. You know, that's where that deeper water is going to be. Trout love to hang around those kind of areas as well. Then you got some river bends. I would not overlook that. That's an awesome area to find trout. It's a change in the river. That can also be around some structure too. Fish hang out around structure, behind a log, behind a rock. Is all very important places too. I'm going to go ahead and give some examples from some previous videos on some areas that I've caught trout out of. So waterfalls and bridges are a great place to start. It's an easily accessible area where the fishing game can stock fish, and I would definitely try out there. Next clip here was actually during the fall. As you can see, I casted that jerkbait right in front of that rock. And as you can tell right there, I'm hooking up right next to that rock. It was a good spot for that trout to hang out, and that's how I got him. This right here is actually a pretty calm area around another river bend. There's some deeper water that kind of flows through the middle there, and we were tossing out some salmon eggs, and my friend Harry hooked up here. So this next clip here, I caught this fish on a 1/16 ounce rooster tail. I was casting upstream, retrieving back slow, and this guy hit it probably right around the middle of the pool. So as you can see here, I'm tossing that salmon egg upstream. The bite seemed to slow down with the rooster tail, and I knew there were fish there. So all you need to do sometimes is change up your lure, show these fish something different, and you might be able to catch a few more out of that same hole. Another example here of some really nice looking water. There's some structure, some calm pools, a lot of flow. Trout really like to be lazy sometimes. They swim with their heads upstream. They usually will just hang out on a spot and just wait for some food to pass them. So when you're fishing, you're gonna wanna cast upstream past this stuff and just retrieve your bait back behind that. A really classic spot for a trout to hang out is right around some fast water where some slow water meets. Any part where the water changes, behind a rock, I'm really trying to make this video so that anybody can get out there and trout fish. This state has some awesome fishing, and I don't want you to miss out on it. If you have any questions, or if I didn't cover anything in this video specifically, please drop a comment below and I try my best to get back to you. If you're new to the channel and you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. I'm really gonna try to post videos every week, get some new content out to you guys every week, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. The weather's warming up, so hopefully the fishing is too. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you next time on The Line Cook.